innovation, and scale. Let's hear how they've battled the onslaught of the giants. Co-founder and CEO of lastminute.com Group, Fabio Cannavale. Co-founder and executive board member of Voyage Privé, Alex Fontaine. Yeah, that's perfect. CEO of Destinia, Amuda Gouali. And the CEO of Seven Travel, Jörg Truvant. So let's get started. We talk about the global giants all the time, and really two of them have more than 2/3 market share, right? Booking.com and Expedia. So, but you're all here. You're all here, flesh and blood, thriving. So what, if I had to ask you the one thing that sets you apart, how you differentiate, the one thing that makes you special, what would you say that is? And I'm going to start with you. You got a smile on your face.
I would say it's our huge combination of different online travel companies that work well with each other.
Thank you. That was nice and short. Good. Amuda?
Innovation and the creativity. And the two, we have to eat a lot with little.
So very innovative. And Alex?
So the first thing is that to avoid to be in front of them, of course. So, and then with the selection of products.
Okay, selection, and then just being in a niche, in a different place.
Yeah, exactly. Restricted number of products and type of products.
Right. Fabio, you go a little more head-to-head, correct?
I think at the end is localization. We started from nothing 12 years ago doing an engine for low-cost flights because no one in US had low-cost flights and there was no competition. And today, for example, I think we have a very good solution for dynamic packaging. We are probably, together with Expedia, the only one fully licensed in the 5 largest European countries. And this is a typical European business, the large tour operator. And I was talking also today with some people, the Americans, they don't even know that you need a license in Europe to do that. And that's why it's a local business at the end.
Right. So I want to talk about localization later because that's obviously a really big topic. I want to stick a little bit more on this differentiation question because you are all different. So, Fabio, you founded a company, then you merged with another company, and you're publicly traded. Alex, co-founder, privately owned company. Founder, very passionate, owner of your own business that you started, and you're private equity, right? More of a combination of brands. So coming kind of different places. But what would you say, the one thing in common, that you're not Expedia, you're not Booking.com, what would you say that it puts more pressure on your business in terms of A, to acquire more companies, or B, to invest in Google to keep up?
Should I go first? Yeah. So I think, first of all, I need to explain a little bit our business because, as you said, they are all very different. So we are a portfolio of online travel companies along the customer journey. So we have wetter.com, which is the biggest German weather site. That's a traffic machine. So a lot of 2 billion visits a year, actually. Then we have eTravelI, which is a flight-centric online travel agency in 48 countries active. We have Weg.de and Tropo, which is a package tour online travel agency, and a tour operator.
So you've already invested in the acquisition
together.
part.
Yeah. So you see that all fits well together, and we have a rental car meta search called billigermietwagen.de. And then if you have a customer at one point, and if you look up the weather in Mallorca, for example, in 2 weeks' time, why do you do that? Because you want to go there. And then we show you the advertisements of flights and package tours, etc. And when you book the flight or the package tour, we show you the advertisement or we offer you our rental car. So that works well together, and we save a lot of these Google advertisement costs because we try to keep the customer in that ecosystem. And then the other thing is we belong to, our mother company is the biggest German private TV broadcasting company. So we use the TV leverage as well to push our brands, and that again saves some investments into Google marketing.
So different brands allows you to have niches in different markets, allows you to do the cross-sell, right? Then you have the media ownership of ProSieben, so that allows you to diversify into TV versus being too dependent on Google.
Exactly. And then if you look at these different markets, I mean, in Europe, you have local markets and local businesses. I mean, package tour. I mean, in the US, that's basically non-existing. So you book your flight and your hotel separately. In Germany, that's the biggest part of the travel market. In UK, it's big. In France, it's not that big. In Southern Europe, it's different. So I think here in Europe, the markets are very diverse. And if you have the right offering for the right market, I'm sure you can win against these big, giant, one-size-fits-all approaches.
How else do we do that? I mean, Expedia spends, I think it's something like 12 million a day on sales and marketing. What do you also, how can you diversify? You're not gonna
Our story, we are a small company, no? We start with $3,000 only, no? And we don't have in person, we don't have credit card, credit from banks, and we have to auto-financial. We don't have muscle, economic muscle, but our muscle is innovation and open new marketing in different countries. For us, our map is, for example, Iran, Israel, Saudi Arabia, different countries is closing for the big companies, for example, Expedia or Pressline. Yeah.
So you take a market that maybe Expedia Booking won't venture into for certain reasons. Maybe there's not enough scale in those markets for them, and for you, there's opportunity?
It's very big opportunity. Example, Iran. Iran is this year is the third market for us, but I think in 2 years it's number one for us because impossible you can enter Expedia or Pressline Iran. And I am the leader now.
You're the leader
for
in
moment
Iran.
in this market.
And being, a private company, you could make those decisions.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Very good. Alex?
Actually, of course, we spend money
Different
in marketing, but not the same way as Fabio, for instance, because we're not buying traffic, but we aim to buy members. So we have traffic once we have members engaged, because when you just acquire members or they go to a landing page and it does not provide you with traffic. So you can have a huge database, but not traffic. So all the point is making sure that you get members that understand your promise and then they understand what you do. And once you send them either a newsletter or Facebook or whatever, they come on the website and then they give you traffic. Because the website is closed as well. So this means that it's not just buying traffic from Google, but definitely having traffic and then spending money in marketing is still an issue, of course.
Right. So your business model is spending some money on getting the customer to come to you, but then your real concentration, which is probably more difficult for the major OTAs, is to get that customer to keep coming back. Right, you have more of a membership, and is your, how often is your average customer return to the site, say, in a year?
In a year, return to the site, giving us visits.
And they could actually take a trip.
Take a trip, I think that this is probably 30% of repeat buying, so in this range. But I think that this is not, the point is not only having buyers. Of course, this is one of the points, but the point as well is having people visiting the website almost every week and then keeping you in mind by the day they want to spend money for the vacation, then they will visit and give you not only a visit, but some money. So the point is really around all this engagement, because at the very beginning when we started, one of the beauty of the system was that this is Google free model. So then even if you stop spending marketing, then with your database, you can still generate traffic and business. So it won't last forever, but so that's very important. And I think that this is one of the key of the model, where probably we have competitions not always understanding this, and then they buy traffic, and they buy again the same traffic, because they just buy members, but they just can give a visit and then never be back.
Okay. Fabio?
I think, we are, let's say, a more traditional OTAs. We are competing also face-to-face. But what we are trying to do is to move the company to be from being pure transactional, that was 3 years ago. Now we want to be, and we are much more inspirational company with a lot of content. And so we have today about 30% of our revenue doesn't come from transaction, come from media and meta activity. And this really is producing content. We bought one company that is Wayne, where are you now? That is a travel social network. We are doing this year a big agreement with Spotify to give the right music for the people. So we are investing a lot in the content, hoping that the content give us the people. And so I think we used to invest probably when we started 90% of our budget in Google. Now Google, we spend less than 30%. And so we think that try to have, if you look, the bigger company, Expedia, Booking, are really a machine to book. I think Airbnb has a totally different model, and we look a lot at that, and it's much more our model, just to inspire people when they go. Also, the way you book, we have a new way to choose vacation that is inspiration-based, and this is an alternative way to do that. And fortunately, at the moment, the big companies are not really focused a lot on that.
So you mentioned content. Moody, you mentioned innovation. Are you tech companies? Are you content companies? OTAs?
I think we are all of that. Yeah. So
If you had to choose one.
if I had to choose one, I would then choose we are data companies, at least data companies. So at least going forward, for example, our OTA knows where does the customer want to go, and then we could obviously, with our tour operator, produce exactly what is needed. Yeah. If you look at our flight business, we use data knowledge to come to the right pricing models, because the flight OTA works behind the meta, and where do you put your pricing plays a very important role. And the more data you have, the better you are in the end. And I mean, they are sometimes even sell the tickets lower than they buy it, and they can only do that if they have data that's proving that they can upsell in other areas. So that's basically how that model works.
The data. Mm-hmm. And Moody, you talk about innovation. What do you think what are you thinking about when you say that?
Innovation, because I am from Africa and I don't have money. For us, it's innovation. It's the key for every country. It's service, content, or another good service, good product is normal for any company. You have to invent. For example, we're working now for chatbot, for reservation, and we even last week for Messenger and the WhatsApp, in English and in 3 languages, only for searching. And the next month for booking. And in 6 months or 7 months for customer service, only for information. It's very hard, But I think is the way now is with the chat. Now all the people think for box of search again, But a lot of time, and they have to that. This is the box, and if no they, I'm going to kill it in the next months for transformation our home site web page from box to chat a little. I think the way go from chat.
Others doing chat box, chat, messaging?
We are starting to test, yes.
Yeah. For search, for booking?
For customer care.
For customer care.
So we're doing some testing as well for bookings as well.
Okay.
Lorraine, we have a question from the audience.
Lorraine, I have another question. Is of, for example, Bitcoins.
Yes, you're working with Bitcoin.
We are the first company in accept Bitcoins, 4 years ago.
4 years
look
ago.
now.
Anyone else here accept Bitcoin?
No, not yet.
Is there a reason
Which
for that?
share of your sales are done with Bitcoin?
No, Fabio, look, we have 1 million of new customer for different countries. Freaky of Bitcoins. He need buy so from Bitcoins. It's different for us. It's innovation.
Lorraine, we have a question from the
Okay,
audience.
let's take it. Kevin.
Hi, Kevin May, tnews.com. I don't know if you guys saw the Battleground this morning. There was a startup there called Loco, and its proposition was to create, and I'm reading from here, an alliance of regional OTAs. It's essentially a portal where you guys would feed into it. I just wondered if any of you had an opinion on that, whether it would be something that you would consider.
If I have to tell my view, I understand this morning about that, but I see more a concentration of local OTA. So I think there is a trend of concentration in a consolidation, let's say, in the sector, and I think they will do a consolidation, because at the end, we have the example of the acquisition we did in last minute. In 2 years, we saved 40 million. So it's clear that if you have different OTA, if you use one platform, at the end, you save a lot of cost. So more than alliance, I think the consolidation is something that will happen.
So you're saying buy the companies don't, this is more of a platform for companies that can still remain independent or privately owned, but somehow be networked together.
So I would say these companies, I mean, the OTAs everywhere are in competition. So it's difficult to really think about how they could collaborate. Yeah? And I agree to what Fabio said. I think we will see a lot more consolidation in the European market. We have grown a lot through acquiring companies, and we now do about 2.5 billion of transaction volume. And I'm sure we will see more of that. And then the question is how much room is for this kind of collaboration.
So we're going to see more consolidation. I think do we all agree?
Yeah.
We're going to see more consolidation. Muda, more consolidation. I would imagine, Alex and Muda, that you also get offers. An interest?
Yes, of course, of offers, at least signs of interest, of
But
course.
nothing too enticing?
And then for now, I think that we still have a healthy business. We're still operating this business in a very good, strong execution to our vision. And then I think one of the success of Voyage Privé is as well that we probably are still a privately owned company. And then we all have a background from travel. And then if I would define ourselves, I think that we would be travel agent and probably a bit more tour operators than only a tech company. For sure, there's tech marketing, supporting the business, but I think that in this specific model, the knowledge in product is really key. And I think that we all have background from travel, and then we keep the control of the strategy of the company, the decision of the company, and this is probably one of the reasons why we still grow, and from now we won't be comfortable having some other people, and maybe one day we'll need to, but for now this is not the case.
Well, good for now.
Yeah. But this consolidation, I agree with what Fabio is saying. I think that consolidation will increase for sure, and there will be probably opportunities here.
Are there a lot more, would you say, local companies, local OTAs out there in Europe?
Yes.
That need to be consolidated?
Yes, especially as Jarko was saying, if you look especially in the package business, it's very local business. I mean, we are probably the largest after Expedia, being in all the country, but our competitor, then if you go to Germany, our competitor is Unister Troppo. If you go to France, you have Promo Vacances. If you have in UK, you have on the beach. So in each country, you have a different player that's only in one country. Because vacation is really a local, and also we are everywhere because of acquisition, because otherwise, why flight? You can be in 46 countries, or we are in 20 or whatever with exactly the same product. The package is different.
But what's changed? Because a lot of those players have been around for a while. So what's changed this year? Like, why do we think, is it this pressure, is there more pressure to consolidate?
Well, I think there was always a pressure of, if you look, there is, I think there is two reasons of consolidation. First, there is a lot of opportunity, because when you scale, you save cost. And second, that is even more important, most of the company are owned by financial investors. Financial investors, by definition, they have to sell. And so at the end, this brings to consolidation. So this guy, they own the company, they don't want to sell. But all the rest, the other people, they are for sale. So at the end...
So if you mentioned packages, and just a what-if scenario, if you were, you were going to purchase a type of company, an OTA, what would you look for? What characteristics?
No, we look for a country where we are less present, so like Germany, Nordics,
Okay.
places like that. And we look like new kind of project, like flash sales or different, because at the end we are, let's say, if we say we are audience-centric company, tech audience, let's ever say this is our, so we know how to interact with the people, and we think the asset we have is the 50 million unique users per month. This is the only asset we have, and how to manage that audience. And then to that audience, we have to give the right relevant products. And so at the end, having other kind of products, new way to sell is what we are interested in.
If I can add to that, so I really believe in online travel, size matters, right? So that's a matter of fact. And if you consolidate and you put two similar companies in the same market together, of course, you gain a lot of synergies. So that is getting an additional value. So I think that all makes sense.
We're going to have a session later just all about that.
Exactly. And then, you know, what I want to
Hotel
say is, but we can do it and we can stay local champions. There are so many examples. I mean, Google is putting a lot of pressure on us, and they are coming even deeper into our business models every year. But there are so many examples of local champions that survive. I mean, when Google implemented hotel reviews, for example, I've been CEO at Holiday Check. Yeah, we've been really afraid of, you know, what's happening. TripAdvisor and Holiday Check might be dead. And, you know, the opposite happens. I mean, Holiday Check, for example, is a local champion in the German-speaking markets, and it will stay like that. So TripAdvisor didn't came closer. Google didn't succeed. Same happens to Google Hotel Search, Google Flights. I mean, look, we have Trivago, we have Kayak, we have Skyscanner, and they are all very successful, and they are even becoming more successful every year, despite of Google. So there is a way, and there is hope even against the big global
I
players.
have a feeling this conversation is to be continued.
Lorraine, we have a question from the audience.
Hi, my name is Uli Kastner. I see a lot about things that you talk about travel and everything, but what I haven't heard today, and all the other discussions as well, is the meeting and MICE area. We know that meeting represents in Germany itself 72 billion euros of volume. Is this something you guys, because we talk a lot about niche, right? You're all active in certain niches, package travel and da-da-da. So who of you is actually looking into the MICE area? Maybe you, Jörg. I mean, you're a kind of an investment company in a way.
Nice. Anybody in the business market?
No, not really, because of course, we look at certain sizes. I mean, it's the markets we are operating in, like, you know, package travel, that's not a niche. It's probably a niche from a US perspective. I mean, for us, that's the biggest part of the German online travel market or travel market overall. So I won't say this is not interesting, but at least it's not in our focus. And, you know, when we started, since we belong to a big TV company, we looked at broad customer markets where that can probably even be supported, or the companies can be supported with TV advertising. So that needs to be really broad and not niche and very dedicated.
Yeah. Fabio?
Yeah, we have the same problem. I mean, we have some special niche, but we manage outside the group because at the end, we have, I don't know, 5 million customers, 2 billion of sales. If you do something that do 20 million, it's irrelevant. And so, unfortunately, we have to do things that are big. And so then we don't have enough focus
Business
to
travel
business.
could be big.
Yeah, but it's not very profitable business. There is a lot of big operators. So I see much more, if you look at the numbers, as you were saying, the traditional tour operator, where 70% of the market in Germany is still offline, if I'm well updated, is in Europe more than 10 billion. Then all the rest is peanuts, let's say, compared to that.
Right. So not worth it. So I promised we would go back to localization. But there's a few things that stand out when we think about localization. Okay? Language, payments, content, service. You know, which of those four would you say you practice the most and are most important to you in terms of your local strategy? Payments, language, what makes you...
I think a bit of everything is important. At least this is the way we feel is. when we started first with some countries, we even created some subsidiaries there in order to have all the legal stuff, you know, in order to make sure that your customers are comfortable.
So the local presence
Traveling, yeah.
service.
So this was true in the past. I think that probably this is probably a bit less true. And I think definitely payment is something which is important. Quality of content is clearly something which is important as well. So this is really at least two key things if there were only two.
Yeah. Amuda?
For us, payment is
Yeah.
number one. I need money, no, to enter our company. For example, you have the story of our payment credit card in Iran. You enter in our open market, and we have a business plan for open house. I am only here, it's my market. And the Iranis is provide American Express, Visa card, and the MasterCard.
Really?
Yes, it's provide because American company. No? In this moment, we invent credit card for Iranis, for accept in our in Destinia. No?
So, yeah.
Yes, and we have to working with bank by bank. And you have 24 banks in Iran. 3 months for meetings with for every bank. For us, for me the great master for understand the important the bank, the Visa card, and the another technology, for example, in Latin America, in Brazil especially.
Do you agree? Payments is the big one?
Not so much from my perspective, because you know,
You're
if
not
you
in
are
Iran.
in a mature market, I mean, payment is a hygiene factor, I would say. Yeah, but you know, we see when eTravel, for example, they have entered India and China,
Okay.
and there, you know, fraud is a big issue, for example. Yeah, so these kind of things obviously play a role. But to answer your question, from my perspective, is understanding and knowing the local customer, and then having the right product proposition for him. So that's basically it. The rest is technology around it.
Fabio?
I think is content. So it means that at the end also we are changing a little bit our focus. Before we were managing more by product. Now we are managing by audience. So it means that if you are in a country and the same person that today is buying a flight, tomorrow is buying a package, then they have a needs of urban transportation, then the end having the focus on the people, at the end you can have only locally, and people in different country have different needs. And then payments is incredible despite Europe. In France, if you don't have a French bank acquiring, you have the rejection is like 20%. In Germany, if you don't have the direct debit, it doesn't work. So payment within Europe, not India and China, is still, you have to be very local.
But local content, big one.
Yeah.
So what are some of the new markets that you're expanding into? What's the hot new market?
For us, it's exactly the opposite. So we were before a strategy of being everywhere with like flights.
That was your, okay.
Now our strategy is to be in these 5 countries where we are, plus Scandinavia, to work on the content, on the local people, and so to serve our customer well where we are big.
To go
so
deeper in
UK,
those 5
France, Spain, Italy, and Germany open to grow.
Okay. Alex?
And this would be, we've started operating Germany since December last year. So I think that can still consider that this is a new country. And we'll probably focus a lot on Germany for the next 2 years, probably. I think if we succeed in Germany, we'll be covering all the major markets in Europe. And clearly the vision is to be the leader in Europe. So okay, let's do the job first.
Okay, so Europe is your...
Yeah, Europe first, yes. We tried a bit in the US, in Brazil, so the farthest you are from your borders, the harder it is. So we want to focus in Europe for now.
Okay. And Amuda, you
No,
mentioned...
for us, the market is Middle East. It's number one for us. Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Israel, Egypt, and Iran. And now we're going to go to Mexico and Brazil. No, this is the market. But we have been open new line of business, technology, for changes the company bit by bit, to transform from OTA to company for technology. For example, we working now, we buy big company in Spain, in Latam, big bank, and we transform this company for technology only, for tourism technology, for hotels, for channel manager, for package, for OTA or traditional travel agents. This is new business, B2B.
But how do you scale if you're in all these individual markets with all these individual languages and cultures? Is there such thing as scale at Destinia?
Our website in 35 languages now. We're working for Iran and for Israel, the enemy. And our company is international, from 20 nationalities, for example, from Africa to American. But the mentality, our mentality for is a different culture and a different language open for us new markets. For example, you go to Iran because our manager for white label is from Iran. And you open for you new marketing.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank our panelists, Fabio, Alex, Amuda, Jörg, thank you all so much.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.